In the year 1800, Angeles was just a small settlement that was then named Culiat. It was a huge part of San Fernando for over 3 decades, and when the barrio's economy flourished, where sugar mill factories and wine distilleries was built, Culiat was separated from San Fernando City. In the year 1899, Angeles grew to prominence when General Emilio Aguinaldo held the anniversary celebration of Philippine independence in Angeles. One of the oldest residences in Angeles, the Pamintuan residence, was also the presidential palace at one point in the year 1899. Angeles also became a battlefield in the Second World War when US bases were built in the city and there was a flourishing amount of Americans who lived in the city. These hardships and historical feats that happened in the city is what defines the current landscape of Angeles City. Its architecture, economy, and most importantly, its people. Today, Angeles City consistently holds and displays of having an economic growth higher than the national average. The socio-economic services the city provides are globally competitive, hence the amount of projects being built in the landscape. High residential condominiums, shopping malls, and more commercial districts are being planned. But is that what the community needs? Kapampangan people comprise of 88.27% of the total population of Angeles City. Yet there are barely any traces of our culture in our architecture, art, and even our cuisine. These were caused by the high urbanization of city centers and the lack of awareness to the culture and traditions, especially to the younger age groups. These cultures included parole making, original Kapampangan cuisines, or even the promotion of rattan furnitures made by our locals. With the PGR or population growth rate of 4.52%, which means Angeles City's population will double in less than 15 years. And with the rapid urbanization of and growth in the city, locals fear for cultural bereavement and they are fighting for the continuation of Kapampangan culture so as not to lose their identity. When you go around Angeles City as a tourist, it will be hard to navigate throughout the city as there is little to none wayfinding symbols, especially as a pedestrian. I've experienced this firsthand since I didn't really stay here for so long until the pandemic came. It wasn't such a huge change to me, and it felt like Manila. But I realized that the current Angeles City was far from the culturally rich Angeles that I knew when I was a child, where festivals are to occur, night markets happen weekly, having to taste authentic Kapampangan food everywhere I go. Now it just feels like Manila all over again. The identity of the city is slowly fading away. This is Angeles City back in the year 2003. The maps present a lot of opportunities, spaces for building better streets, communities, especially leaving green spaces and creating public parks for people. This was also the time where Barangay Kutkut, the lower part of the view, is not yet recognized as a barangay, as there were no establishments built yet, just plain fields. Jumping to 2012, where residential and commercial buildings started to emerge, and it became the main focus, and compared to now, still has more opportunities to create spaces. Skipping to our current time, 2021, estimated around zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 open space, a city where it is growing to be as populated as Manila. The current urban fabric still lacks the parks, the streets, the spaces the community needs. With the history and current context in mind, what can Project Lualu contribute to the betterment of the city? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Franz, and this is Project Lualu. Project Lualu is rooted from a strong attachment with the city and being a half Kapampangan growing up in Angeles and Manila simultaneously. It is ignited by the idea that Kapampangan culture should not be forgotten and be revitalized through architecture and by its people. It studies the opportunities that are provided by the streets and spaces in Angeles City by considering social and cultural factors in the mix. This project also aims to change the way our streets work and reduce the barriers that hinder people from using our streets. In choosing the main site for the main hub in this project, I considered its walkability, the opportunities, the size, and its permeability. Nepo Central Park is relatively close to the city central, approximately 800 meters or about 5 to 10 minutes from the site. You will be able to access all the utilities needed, such as hospitals, schools, and commercial establishments. The site is also one of the main entry points of different towns and cities to Angeles, such as Clark, Porac, and San Fernando. This is also 500 meters away from the planned new Rockwell development that is ongoing and will be probably finished in the next couple of years. The site size, which is approximately 1.4 hectares, provides a lot of opportunities for the project and can become the perfect site where it becomes a space where Kapampangan culture is recognized and social spaces are present for the people. Majority of the users in the city central are present because of the basic necessities such as markets and schools that are available in the area, while some are there primarily just for work. There is also a few percentage of people in the area to visit the city central just for leisure, as there's not much spaces dedicated for that typology. The heaviest amount of human traffic is around 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., especially in pedestrian focused and shared streets such as the San Nicolas Market. The main road near the site of study, the Angeles Dinalupian Road, does have moderate traffic throughout the day, but does not congest and cause standstill for the cars. The traffic is usually caused by the obstructions in the road, such as road parking, vendors, and sometimes pedestrians just crossing. 80% of the side roads and alleyways near the site of study is under-programmed and can be avoided as it is perceived to have possible threats, especially in the nighttime. This is caused by the lack of street lights establishments in the area or even just the proper sidewalks. The Project Lualu master plan aims to utilize the streets and spaces given to the city and create bonds within the community through redesigning these forgotten spaces. Angeles City is one of the highly urbanized cities in central Luzon, dependent on automotive transportation for almost 4 decades. This caused our current streets to be prioritized and designed for vehicles while giving no priority to the pedestrians. Night markets and festivals in the area, which caused the highest amount of pedestrian footprint, were deemed to stop due to the new developments in the area, notably the Rockwell development. The redesigned street typology of Project Lualu aims to bring back increased pedestrian footprint in the area through shared streets and pedestrian-only streets, where pedestrian footprint is the heaviest. These changes will not affect the traffic as the main roads, Angeles Dinalpihan Road, will not have any changes. Most shared space, as you can see, is on the side roads where vendors are most present. Alleyways are also going to be redesigned to bring life to the streets and increase walkability in the area. Also, not to mention, to increase economic traction and bring more people to go to Angeles City. The main mode of mobility in the area and most of Angeles City are tricycles due to their affordability and accessibility. These tricycle todas are located mostly beside the streets and inside alleyways where they have no shade or whatsoever. Project Lualu aims to give support for these tricycle todas by redesigning their todas and including shade and seating, also a mark of their toda number and color which helps unfamiliar commuters to easily navigate around and know where the boundaries of these tricycles are headed. The main hub of Project Lualu is designed to become a convergence point of Central Luzon and the landmark that defines the city's culture and forgotten traditions. The hub comprises of a local food hall where local Kapampangan dishes and delicacies will be served. Not just the ordinary sisig and halo-halo, but also world-renowned dishes that deserve to be the placeholder for Pampanga's culinary capital title. The hub also allows vendors to sell their products, especially local ones, such as Kapampangan-made furniture, handcrafts, or even bags. This is a space to help those vendors who have their places moved due to the rapid development in the city central, or just to have a better place to sell due to their increased footprint in the area based on the strategic location of the hub. The 1.4-hectare development also boasts a pearl-shaped plaza, where it is based from the major tradition Kapampangans are usually proud of, coral making, or as others call it, lanterns. The plaza is a place where people can perform, exhibit local artists' work, or even a place to host some events. Near the plaza is the playground area, which is an all inclusive space where specific types of playground equipment are there to support children who are differently able. The playground also has different types of flooring and texture and color, where it can assist people who are differently able to know the transition between spaces or even having a hard time seeing. These bright changes in colors can be a big help in their mobility. Lastly, Project Lualu built the first official skate park in Angeles City. This was due to the amount of professional skaters, or trashers, as some of them call themselves, in Angeles City not being able to practice their sport due to the lack of support and venues to skate. This idea was rooted from the experiences of Kapampangan trashers going to abandoned areas to play the sport, or even go to high cliffs or bangins to practice. The skate park will be open to everyone, and it will most likely become a center of attraction in the development, encouraging more people from Central Luzon to or outside to play and perform in the skate park. The current streets of around the site are underutilized and always viewed as a threat. Yet there are a lot of opportunities to redesign the area in order to create a safe space and to attract more people. Project Lualo aims to redesign the alleyways by increasing more establishment in these streets, more focused on markets, retail, and dining. Active ground level use will increase user activity in the area, thus reducing the perceived threat in the place. Small design additions such as these establishments and local art will help define the space which are formed by the community. This strategy is also in line with making the city more navigable. Every street will be different and the spaces will be shaped around the activities in the area. Application of wayfinding signages and color coding in the streets of Angeles will help people who are not familiar with the place to become comfortable in the area, thus once increasing pedestrian footprint again in the city. The story of Rose. She's just about to buy some groceries until she remembered she had planned a lunch with her friends on their call yesterday. She's seen walking swiftly and hurriedly eases through the crowd and is walking towards the place they saw on Facebook yesterday. She's greeted by her friends
Hey!
and ask her why she's late again. They laugh it off and they went to see where they were planning. Rose was confused to see what she was seeing, not because of her friends, but because of the alley she barely even recognized. It was so long since he passed by the alley, and so many people and establishments are in the street. As they finish their lunch, Rose's friends ask her to go with them in the park. She hesitantly accepts even though she has work to do. Exhaustedly, They arrived at the newly built park. They quickly went to the food hall to grab some halo-halo to beat the heat. They stayed under shade to rest and talk about how their week went, since it's been so long since they last seen each other. After such rest, they walk around the park while the performers in the plaza catch Rose's eyes. She also saw these children as Rose was very fond of them, and she was very pleased to see so many kids playing in the park. While walking, Rose also saw his younger brother playing in the skate park with his friends. After the tiring boxing hangout, Rose calls it the day with her friends. She walks slowly towards the tricycle station and heads home, happy seeing her friends. Project Lualu is rooted from a strong attachment with the city and being a half Kapampangan growing up in Angeles and Manila simultaneously. It is ignited by the idea that Kapampangan culture should not be forgotten and revitalized through architecture invites people. It studies the opportunities that are provided by the streets and spaces in Angeles City. By considering social and cultural factors in the mix, this project also aims to change the way our streets work and reduce the barriers that hinder people from using our streets. Project Lualu is an agent to change on how the current Kapampangan people defer to their culture and identity. Project Lualu stems from the idea that Kapampangans are one of the most culturally rich provinces in the Philippines. Project Lualu is a community effort by the people for the people. Thank you for listening.